Great. So you were telling me about the levels of interactions that teachers should have with their students at the moment of facilitation.
Yeah, so I'll show you an example of something that comes from some of the theories that underlie what we do in idiomas. The first one I want to talk about, for example, is Bloom's taxonomy. In many cases, I would say that when you talk about critical thinking as such, yes, indeed, it requires a higher level of thinking and a higher order of processing. So if you take a look here at Bloom's taxonomy, obviously the types of activities that one engages in language learning at a very basic and very low level has to deal with memorization, understanding, and then applying that language in some way. And also looking at a situation and analyzing it is where higher order thinking skills come in, and definitely where your critical thinking becomes front and center in terms of what type of plan you would do. But to go beyond analyzing, we also have the synthesizing. So I'm not just looking at steps and breaking them down, I'm also looking at different models that have been applied in different situations. One example that comes to mind immediately is different countries' response to the coronavirus, something we're living through right now. So I can analyze what happens within one society versus another society. I can critically think about how it's been effective or not effective. But to go beyond and look at a synthesis and really apply a level of criticalness, if you will, with regards to how one can synthesize information and make sense of it, you also have to go to the human level. You have to consider the individual culture, how people relate to their environment and their world, how people respond to different types of situations, what underlies the psyche that seems to be sort of a collective consciousness. So I would say those are also elements that need to be considered. Also in response to, the pandemic here in Colombia, one of the things we've seen is as universities have found the need to go online and present their courses online, there's been sort of a negative backlash from some of the students because of this dislike of the modality and the idea that, they don't believe perhaps that they can learn in the same way. And so I just wanted to share this information because in this particular slide that you see in front of you, it still follows Bloom's taxonomy, but you can see, for example, how in idiomas we've sort of divided not only within a critical pedagogy, but in terms of moving the operation online, how we've divided different types of tasks that can be conducted outside of class and those that we focus on inside of class. So if you look to the right of your screen and you see the inverted or the flipped class model, the idea that different types of mechanical tasks, things such as memorizing and getting a basic understanding, can be focused on the types of language learning elements, so memorizing vocabulary, doing different types of grammatical exercises to sort of get them to become a little bit more what is the word I'm looking for? To get them to become a little bit more automatic in terms of your processing. Those types of activities which are more mechanical and therefore not front and center within the participatory classroom can be something that you can do in terms of exercises outside of class just to reinforce that learning. Whereas when you meet, whether it's in a physical classroom space or online, the idea of using that knowledge to apply it, to analyze it, to practice it in new and meaningful ways, to make it make sense to you, and then also to be able to use that knowledge, not just applying in terms of what you've learned, but in terms of working with others and teaching them through your example, also moves up this triangle or this pyramid in terms of Bloom's taxonomy, but also reinforces the learning of the student.